Hello everyone, I'm Shannon Slatton in Golden Valley. Here's a look at your top stories.
Some local police departments are seeing an increase in requests for permits to purchase guns. The high demand is causing some departments to change how they operate. If you're in the market for a firearm, you're not alone. Several Northwest Metro law enforcement agencies are seeing an influx of permits to purchase a handgun. Over in Crystal, they've seen a notable increase in requests.
Anecdotally, I would say that, in the past years, we would probably maybe process between 3 and 5 or 6 each week. This year, I would say we're easily doing double that, if not even a little bit more than that.
Over in Robbinsdale, they're seeing the same uptick in applications for permits to purchase. In 2019, Robbinsdale had about 94 permits. So far this year, they've seen 214.
Right now, it's hard to tell what exactly is behind the increase due to the fact that the police department doesn't ask those specific questions.
The department moved its applications to the vestibule because the lobby is closed due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
To drop them off, we have a secure box in the vestibule area for them to drop them off at.
Brooklyn Park officials are also seeing an increase in the number of people wanting a permit to purchase a firearm.
We're seeing a drastic increase in applications for permits to purchase.
The 5-year average for gun permit applications in Brooklyn Park is over 660, but through August of this year, that number is over 1,100. Officials say there are several reasons for the increase, including an uptick in violence.
We definitely see an increase in violent crime here in the city of Brooklyn Park. Some of it is directly related to Minneapolis.
The uncertainty of the COVID-19 pandemic is also causing some to purchase guns.
It's just this idea that there's fearful of the unknown, fearful of what the future looks like, and people think the gun's the answer.
Brooklyn Park Police reallocated staff to handle the influx of applications. Meanwhile, officials want to remind future gun owners to take safety precautions after their purchase.
Make sure they lock that weapon up and take care of it once they do purchase it.
Sonia Goins, CCX News.
Since the onset of the pandemic, the CDC says that racial and ethnic minority groups are at an increased risk of getting sick and dying from COVID-19. It's one reason why Hennepin County and the city of Brooklyn Park have teamed up to provide free testing.
Brooklyn Park residents are impacted at a higher rate, particularly residents of color are impacted at a higher rate by COVID-19. So we're trying to be very intentional about reaching out to those communities, trying to get them to come out and not only provide resources, but provide an opportunity to get tested.
Thursday at the Zanewood Recreation Center, more than 100 people came out for a free COVID-19 test, which is administered through a nasal swab. This event is one of several that Hennepin County and Brooklyn Park have planned in an effort to reach people who might otherwise have limited access to testing. County health officials say the test is open to anyone regardless of whether they have symptoms. But they especially encourage people with symptoms or those who believe they've been exposed to someone who's tested positive to get tested themselves.
Being in a pandemic, it's really just rewarding to be helpful and kind of show up for people when they need us. So yeah, just happy to be helping out and just helping in any capacity that we can to keep people safe and healthy.
Anyone who was tested on Thursday will get their results back in 3 to 5 days. Zanewood will host 2 more testing events on October 3rd and October 10th from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Delane Cleveland, CCX News.
The Animal Humane Society in Golden Valley is assisting a shelter in Texas that is dealing with flooding due to Tropical Storm Beta. The Golden Valley shelter is taking in 32 dogs, including lots of puppies, from the Montgomery County Animal Shelter in Houston, Texas. The pups arrived Wednesday morning via a transport van.
It's really important to leave space in the shelters down there for animals that might get displaced because of the natural disaster. So it's always a goal, if possible, if we have enough warning, to get animals moving north ahead of time. So these are animals that were already in their shelter.
Once the animals are checked out, they'll be up for adoption. If you're interested in adopting, contact the Animal Humane Society. Sonia Goins, CCX News.
The exhibit at the Robbin Gallery is brought to you by 2 artists who have very complementary work.
Okay, my work is from the environments that I happen to be able to enjoy.
My work is influenced by not specific places. I'm not painting specific places, specific landscapes or waterscapes, but they're feelings about different places I've been.
The title of the exhibition is called Out and About. Cynthia's work depicts 3 distinct places where she spends time.
Webster, Wisconsin, a lot of the water pieces, go out in the kayak and do that. And then Tucson, Arizona, which is where some of the desert type of places are, and especially when there's water through the washes. And the other place is up in Washington State. My daughter lives up there. So I go up there and we hike Gifford Pinchot National Forest and some other areas and just get into deep, deep, thick, temperate rainforest.
For the past 3 years, I've done 3 really wonderful long-distance walks, one in Wales, one in Scotland, and one in Italy. And a lot of these are reflections of places I've been.
Although the two don't actively collaborate, their chosen color palette is quite complementary of each other's work. Cynthia and Bonnie have exhibited before and are longtime friends.
We've known each other for decades, so we worked together a lot. In fact, she reminds me I taught her at the U when I was doing a TA.
The first time we met was back in college, which was a really long time ago. And then years down the road, we were both represented by the same gallery in Minneapolis, and so we really became friends then.
For Weekend Showcase in Robbinsdale, Neil Persley, CCX News.
Find more local news stories at ccxmedia.org and follow us on social media.
Official football practices begin Monday after the State High School League voted to have a shortened fall season. Jay Wilcox caught up with the Cooper Hawks.
When the announcement came earlier this week that there will be a fall football season during COVID-19, it's fair to say the Cooper Hawks were pretty pumped up about it.
Literally everybody on the team, even players that aren't on the team, all hit me up. He's like, dude, are you ready? I mean, I'm just, let's go. This is go time. So, I mean, we're already out here practicing. Everybody's really pushing to their limits to get better for that first game against Waconia.
I was definitely excited, especially for the seniors. I was glad that they could have a season. I don't know what it would be like if I was a senior. I wouldn't be able to have a season. So I'm happy for them, and I could already tell when we came out here the first practice, the energy was up. We had to get rolling, we had to get ready.
And so if it was a risk for soccer or for us, I would feel like it would be a risk for soccer. And so because it wasn't a risk and the data was showing that it wasn't affecting communities, I felt we had a really good shot at it. The biggest thing is making sure that we as coaches do what we need to do and do our part to make sure that the data does not change by making sure we do the little things. You know, we've got masks, we've got our helmets on today, and so making sure that we stay apart from each other. But we do our part, we'll be doing pretty good.
While the details of the season just came out, Cooper's coaches say they really don't feel all that rushed to prepare. Teams were already into the previously allowed fall practice sessions.
We've had the opportunity to practice all last week and then all this week, and then now we're going to get 2 weeks before our first game. So technically, when you figure out the numbers, we're going to have an opportunity to put together a game plan. It might not look just like the NFL. Let's use them as an example. First game looked somewhat like a preseason for a lot of teams because that's kind of what it was. But it's still quality football, and you got to be able to execute the little things. We might not put 100 plays in our playbook for the first game, but we got to execute the 10 plays that are going to be played.
They are excited to play regardless of the results, but with a lot of returning talent, including quarterback Joe Russell, who's coming off a very productive sophomore season and is getting D1 looks. This has a chance to be a very good team.
That has an amazing chance. I mean, we got so much potential. I love my teammates. We're really out here pushing.
It's a later start than usual, but the Cooper guys are fired up for the chance to play some football. Jay Wilcox, CCX Sports.
High school volleyball teams are also preparing for a revamped fall season. Jason Malillo visited Osseo and has this story.
Osseo volleyball player Riley Steester is pleasantly surprised she'll get to play her senior season.
I was really happy that we are having a season, and it kind of came as a surprise.
The Orioles, like all teams in Minnesota, will have to work fast to get ready. Practices officially start this coming Monday and matches on October 8th.
Just kind of a little chaotic. Ultimately, I love being in the gym and being with the girls, but to get ready in a week is a little overwhelming.
It's kind of weird not having the same schedule that we would before, like preparing for tryouts and having time to get ready, and now we're just kind of jumping in, but I still think it will be all right.
Osseo head coach Mandy Burrian has a lot of questions about the upcoming season.
I've got a lot of people asking about if we can have fans, how often do we need to be wearing our masks, can we have a bus for transportation to and away games, with even school with a little bit unknown right now. Our girls are in distance learning, but next week they start hybrid. So how that change will affect, because some days I've got some of my girls in the building and some days I don't.
There's also the question of whether girls that are currently playing club volleyball can now compete for their high school teams at the same time, normally a violation of state high school league rules.
You'd think that you'd want them to fill out and complete their fall season. We'll be as flexible as we can, but we still got to start our season on Monday. So hopefully there'll be some flexibility on both sides with that.
Jason Malolo, CCX Sports.
That's all for sports. I'm John Jacobson. Find more prep sports games and highlights at ccxmedia.org and follow us on social media.